California has started implementing its new Healthy Youth Act, which has many parents upset. Now, this act will actually change the way sex education is taught in schools grades K through 12 permanently. Essentially, the education will now include issues such as gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, and even teach courses on how to engage in anal sex, masturbation, and how to use sex toys. So can you see why parents are upset? The Orange County School District said that parents don't have a say and they can't opt their children out of these sex education courses. Some schools have already started using learning materials provided by Planned Parenthood. Now, can you imagine the uproar we would hear from liberals if you had the NRA, say, buying up class time like we see Planned Parenthood doing? We would never hear the end of it. Some parents are very upset and concerned about this new sex ed curriculum sexualizing their children. So they've organized boycotts and protests to essentially pull their children from schools to send the schools a message. This protest is called the Sex Ed Sit Out. Now, other parents say that this is good, that we should implement this type of sex ed in classrooms, and that we need to include gender identity and gender expression. So let's go ask people what they think about this new California law and parents not being able to opt out. The new sex ed curriculum has mandatory requirements to include gender identity, gender expression, different sexual orientations, to teach how to have safe anal sex, masturbation, sex toys, different things on that spectrum from kids in 7th grade, 12th grade, but also a lighter version for kids up until kindergarten. Do you think that that's okay?
Maybe not the kindergarten thing, but after
I
that,
really agree with that.
I think it sounds good. 7th grade, 12th grade, yeah.
As soon as you said kindergarten, I was like, wow, that's really young. But it's 2018, so stuff like that, it's not like they're not gonna see it, you know what I mean? Or they're not gonna hear about it. Like, what if one of their classmates, it happens to be transgender, and then they don't know how to feel about that, or they don't know how to, maybe taking in teaspoons like a day at a time.
Well, what grade are they?
Some of it's as early as kindergarten.
Okay, I think kindergarten's a little too young, but I would say high school, it's when the kids have the right.
I think that maybe not as directly as this is what you do, but to get kids to understand what things are, even that young, isn't harmful. But I do believe that there is some, not tongue-in-cheek, but there has to be some way around where you're not, scarring kids.
So when you're introducing your kids to these things, it's not just teaching them, oh yes, it's anal sex. It's okay, this is something you're going to be introduced to. It's sexual habit that's natural for human nature. So it's kind of just teaching them vaginal sex is practically the same thing. I'm not one to do those things. I don't care if you guys want to know or not. But the thing is, I learned about that in high school. We had the full curriculum. It was a class, and I did get graded on it. And it made me a better person because I know more about contraception, how to stay safe, make sure you watch your STDs and things like that. Ask first.
Do you think that parents should have a say to not have their children participate in sex ed?
I think to a certain degree, yeah.
Parents, they should really have a say in children when actually involved in sex education.
I think that everybody has a right to how they want to bring up their kids. If someone thinks that they're doing the right thing by opting their kids out, they should have the option to do that. And furthermore, there are options out there. There are private schools and schools for different religions. I went to a Catholic school myself. I'm not even Catholic. So there are options that really, I'm doing an interview. There are options that parents have.
In Orange County, the school district there says that they are not allowed to opt out, and they don't have a constitutional right to pull their kids from those courses. Do you think that that's okay?
No, I think everyone has a right to their own opinion. So if you really don't feel comfortable taking it, I don't think you should.
I don't think that's okay. But parents don't care about what type of fractions their kids are, the kids are learning. They only care about the controversial things. So I don't know. It just depends on to what degree they want to stop the teaching. You know what I mean? It's kind of depends on the situation.
They should be able to opt out if they want to, just like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I think they should just like have the basic right to say whether they want to take it or not. Like I don't think it should be mandatory.
Do you think that that's violating their rights if it is mandatory curriculum because they won't be able to get their diploma?
From a religious standpoint, yes, I do believe so.
Now, it also bans religion or any type of religious doctrine being included in the sex ed discussions in class. Do you think that that's okay?
I'm not really sure. No opinion.
I'd say include it, but
Yeah,
just
I'd
because
say,
like
yeah.
there's a lot of people that are like religious and they only do certain things based on their religion, so I would include it because then it's more open to everybody, not just certain people.
If it's their religion, that's their religion. You can't really that's their religion, you know, that's what they believe in. So there's no, if it's a religious thing, then no, you have no say. Like their kid, if they want their kid to be brought up as Muslim and they don't want them to learn about specific things, and that's their choice because that's their religion. That's like a First Amendment law.
But I don't really want to mix religion along with sex education, because I think that sometimes also depend on the parents, that they can be heavily biased towards to probably some of the things that they're probably teaching their kids in school, instead of just actually giving them a fair probably just unbiased answer as they possibly learn, and they would have to actually learn to gather their own judgment.
I think it'd be a good thing to mention, oh yes, in this religion, this is how this works, talking about sex ed, or here in the Middle East, or here in other parts of Europe, because there's going to be people of its diversity. So there's going to be different dialects and different everything in the course. So might as well just teach everything to everyone.
I feel like if you're keeping religion out, then you should as well as politics.
Planned Parenthood has provided some of the reading and course materials for some sex ed classes in California. Do you think that that's okay to be allowing special interest groups to provide course materials?
I mean, if it's like accurate, I don't think it really matters who's providing it, because no matter where you're getting your information from, there's going to be a bias, you know?
I mean, I would be upset, I guess, if people were trying to push like abstinence per se, but because like I don't agree that that's the right way to teach kids.
I don't, because you don't have religious people paying for that kind of stuff either.
Now, what if the NRA started buying up spots in classrooms, essentially by providing reading and curriculum on guns and offering gun training at schools? Do you think that some people who are against guns or don't believe in guns would be upset?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, if the NRA started lobbying for class time to teach about guns, do you think that we would hear an uproar?
Yes, definitely.
I think that's a completely different issue, really, because when we're talking about sex education, sex is like one of the it's part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's one of the things that everyone will encounter in some shape and form. Even if you're asexual, then you're encountering sexuality, and that is your sexuality. Gun rights is something that I think is like not only pertain to like, you know, modern times, but especially America and places like Australia, when they had that huge gun ban and like just nobody could have guns for like that is such a like a little hole, you know what I'm saying? It's not so general. It's not something that humanity will experience forever and has experienced since the beginning of time. It's something that is right now.
Do you think that the NRA should be able to buy up class time to teach about, you know, guns?
No, please, Lord Jesus, no.
But don't you think if we're going to include politics, we should include all sides?
I mean, yeah, I'm being biased, yeah.
But a lot of people feel that it's our God-given right to have a gun and to protect ourselves, and that's part of America and the Constitution. So that's okay, you feel that way. And some people also would feel that, you know, Planned Parenthood's not something that we necessarily need or children need to be being taught about. So the real question is, should we be allowing special interest groups and politics per se into school when so many people are going to have differing opinions?
I think it's important to do that in a way where you show everyone both sides of the story so that people can form their own opinions. I'm not saying that one side necessarily needs to be more I'm saying that like if you're teaching kids things on a political spectrum, it's important to get the right people to do that and the right resources to do that so that people can form their own opinions.
You should include all sides to be at the most inclusive as possible. But I think if the person teaching that, the teacher teaching that, should be completely objective.
Over 20 years ago, Alex Jones created the media platform called Infowars, and in the decades since, it's grown into a truly remarkable institution with over 200 radio affiliates, tens of millions of unique website visitors monthly, and a 24/7 live news TV channel broadcasting from state-of-the-art studios in Austin, Texas. Infowars has become the most trusted independent news source in the country, dedicated to delivering breaking news, live coverage of special events, and exclusive reports you won't find anywhere else. While the old guard media struggles to maintain supremacy in a landscape rocked by innovation and technology, Infowars has been at the forefront of the information revolution. From 8 million radio listeners, over 2 million YouTube subscribers, or the billions of views of our online content, Infowars proves dominant in every facet of media we enter. For the hardest-hitting reports, uncompromising analysis, for high-profile interviews and bombshell revelations, accept no substitutes. Demand truth. Demand Infowars. Infowars. Tomorrow's news today.